Umar, tonight, President Muhammad Buhari demands stricter laws to prevent girls from being abused in schools across the country. As the world marks International Day of the Girl Child, Lagos State Government and its partners educate students on the need to stand strong. Federal government bans international travel for executive cabinet members and heads of government agencies ahead of budget defense at the National Assembly. And NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg raises concerns over Turkey's escalating military operations in northern Syria as over 100,000 residents flee their homes.
On Business News tonight, Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation discovers oil and gas deposits in the northeastern part of the country.
On Sports News tonight, Nigeria Football Federation, the NFF, accepts the resignation of Super Falcons coach Thomas Dennerby.
Demanding stricter laws to prevent girls from being abused in schools across the country. The president's comment is in reaction to the recent high-profile revelation of sexual abuse cases in institutions of higher learning in the country. The president said in a statement that he's glad that the incident at the University of Lagos, which was exposed through undercover news reporting, has spurred an amendment of laws regarding the issue in the National Assembly. According to the president, the country must do more to address incidents of sexual violence, sexual abuse in our schools, discrimination, human trafficking, and cultural practices that violate women's rights. He adds that such proposed amendments, if passed by the legislature, will get his support as long as they conform with the constitution of the country. He further asked law enforcement agencies and school administrators to take up cases of sexual abuse with all seriousness and ensure that perpetrators face the consequences of their actions. In the meantime, President Buhari's pronouncement on protecting female students indeed coincides with the International Day of the Girl Child being observed today with the theme Girl Force, Unscripted and Unstoppable. As part of the event, the Lagos State Government and Heart Minders Initiative gathered schoolgirls from different schools at the University of Lagos to educate them on the need to stand strong, rise above any obstacle.
But they are not able to do that.
Over the years, women and girls have experienced various types of sexual violence.
The title of my poem this morning is The Girl Child.
But now the narrative seems to be changing with the promotion of girls' empowerment and the fulfillment of their rights.
My name is Talatu. I am from Kaduna State, born and raised up in Lagos State. And I say it every day and every time that if my parents did not come to Lagos State and gave birth to me in Lagos State, and I was raised in Lagos State, I would be married today with about 3 children.
So never for once apologize for your gender, because you are not doing what a man can do, you are doing what a woman should do.
The Lagos State government is concerned about the future of the girls.
Experience has shown that no force can stop people who are determined to get things done and get things right. And as such, the theme is designed to inspire our young girls to ensure that they rise above all contending forces and as well not relent until they achieve their desired goals in life.
I'm worshiping you.
And then a message for the boys and the girls.
Every time you see a girl child, you are not seeing a hole to penetrate or sleep with. You are seeing somebody that is a nation and a collaborator alongside with you.
Marking 25 years of progress for girls with this year's theme for the International Day of the Girl Child, the girls have been challenged to take charge of their future.
And we'll have more on the celebration of the girl child in the course of this bulletin. Meanwhile, the President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawal, has warned ministers to defend their budget as scheduled, saying that the only available window is throughout the month of October. Senator Ahmed was speaking during the unveiling of the legislative agenda of the 9th House of Representatives. Meanwhile, the Speaker of the House, in his remarks, promised that the lawmakers will protect the most vulnerable in the country. Our correspondent Terry Kumi now reports.
4 months after the inauguration of the 9th National Assembly, the House of Representatives unveils its legislative agenda in a well-attended event. The President of the Senate and former Speaker of the House of Representatives, Gali Naba, are among those in attendance, while President Muhammadu Buhari and the Chief Justice of Nigeria are represented. Also in attendance are representatives of civil society organizations.
Very importantly, the Police Reform Act or Bill. We have a 1943 law that governs the police. This is completely unacceptable. We are hoping that this National Assembly will deal with this issue as quickly and as expeditiously as possible.
Every law of the land must be obeyed. Let me assure everyone present here that the consequences of disobeying lawful court orders will be too grave to bear.
In his speech, Speaker Femi Gbajabiamila assures that the 9th House will pay close attention to the vulnerable in the society, while the President of the Senate seizes the opportunity to issue a warning to ministers as it concerns the budget's defense.
We have it in our power to remake our world, to make it better, to say that no child born in this generation will die of a preventable disease, or fall or fail to receive an education because his family cannot afford one. We are entirely capable of building a society where our daughters and our sons are protected from the perversions of those who will seek to break their spirits and take innocence from them.
Only the window of October is available for budget defense. Any minister or any head of agency who decides to travel out of Nigeria without defending his or her budget would have no opportunity again to defend that budget.
Some of the general principles contained in the 9th House legislative agenda include to establish and maintain high ethical standards in the conduct of House business, identify and target passage of priority legislation within an agreed time frame, and to take necessary legislative steps to address national economic challenges, poverty, infrastructure decline, waste of resources, revenue leakage, and corruption, amongst others. Terry Ikumi, Channels Television News.
And right on cue, President Muhammadu Buhari has suspended all international travels for members of the executive body, including ministers and heads of government agencies, until the 2020 budget defense is over. The directive is contained in a statement from the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation. According to the statement, the travel restriction is to enable all government functionaries and agencies of the executive arm provide the required cooperation with the National Assembly for easy passage of the 2020 national budget. It further directs all ministries and agencies of government to liaise with the relevant committees of the National Assembly for the schedule of the budget defense. Moving on to security matters now, the African nations appear set to put mechanism in place to ban crude oil theft and other resources that are illegally explored and traded in the Gulf of Guinea. The Director General of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, Mr. Dakuku Peterside, says that the international community needs to apply stringent frameworks on stolen crude and stolen fish taken from African waters in an unregulated manner. He was speaking at a news conference in Abuja on the outcomes of the 2019 Global Maritime Security Conference.
Crude oil theft and illegal fishery in the Gulf of Guinea region is said to be creating massive loss of revenue for nations in the West and Central African region, as resources that ought to generate employment and wealth for the people in these countries are illegally taken away.
We had 2 high-level meetings.
It is for this reason that the Director General of NIMASA explains the outcome of the Maritime Security Conference, as he stresses the need for international communities to put deliberate policies in place to ensure that there will not be markets for stolen oil, illegal, unreported and unregulated fishery.
The conference recommended that we set up a GMC expert working group to follow through with the implementation of the recommendations of the conference, to follow through with various multilateral organizations, including the African Union, the IMO, ECOWAS, ECAS, Gulf of Guinea Commission, and the Inter-Regional Coordination Center, the Yaoundé Architecture.
Classify as an international.
For the Nigerian Navy, intensifying regular military patrols will also help in tracking illegal activities in the Gulf of Guinea region.
We have a trinity of action which we are reinforcing by the day. The first leg of that action is surveillance, which revolves around what we call maritime domain awareness. You will realize that the sea out there is a wide expanse of water. Hitherto, before we began to improve on our maritime domain awareness, it required ships and maybe helicopters to sail out to sea to use their radars before they could see what is going on there. But right now, as we speak, in Abuja, in Lagos, in Calabar, and other shore centers, it will interest you to know that we're able to see what is going on out there at sea.
The whole executive.
At the end of the three-day conference, participants are unanimous on the need for the Gulf of Guinea states to explore the possibility of establishing a maritime court to handle cases of sea robbery, piracy, and other maritime offences. This is in addition to ensuring the implementation of other agreed strategies that would enhance continental, regional, and national safety for all.
More stories now. It has become more apparent that Nigeria needs to increase her efforts to stay on track for the Sustainable Development Goals. The Global Compact Nigeria Network, supported by the United Nations, has organized a meeting with bankers, business leaders, entrepreneurs, and influencers to give the needed impetus to realizing the goals.
Members of the Global Compact Network, local and international, as well as invited guests, gather for their breakfast meeting.
A distinguished banking career at ICON.
There is friendly banter, but the matter at hand is a serious one: how to move the Sustainable Development Goals forward. The Minister of Youth and Sports Development sets the tone for discussions.
There's a digital skills gap in Africa, particularly Nigeria, that our youth are unemployable simply because they don't have the 21st century skills that they need.
The Emir of Kano, who is the main speaker of the event, does not mince words about the responsibility that falls on those present.
Because the people in this room are the people who can afford to stand up and hold politicians to account, and you have chosen not to. Political systems do not improve until civil society holds political society to account.
It is determined that the largest gaps to SDG fulfillment are climate change, inequalities in societal status, and the gender gap, issues that must be addressed to improve the economy.
Delivering the global goals in Africa by 2030 would deliver a $1.1 trillion upside. It would have an economic upside price, and it would create more than 85 million new jobs.
The Global Compact Nigerian Network is a part of the UN Global Compact, which works to integrate the Sustainable Development Goals in business operations.
Global goals will not become a reality without the engagement of the business sector.
The conversations have just started, so we need to reach out to more companies to create more awareness, not only about the goals, but about the principles of the Global Compact.
The Global Compact Nigeria Network, which is working to eliminate corruption, entrench human rights, and a sustainable environment, hopes to continue the conversation in Nigeria and believes the goals are achievable if the private sector works with the government to make the SDGs more than just an idea.
In part two, after the break, Adamawa Election Petition Tribunal upholds victory of Governor Ahmadu Fintiri in the March 9 governorship elections.